How y'all doing today? Good to see y'all back again. That you get a pen and paper. A pen and paper as we proceed to give you things that just never thought was possible. We've been watching you. We've been watching you, and you doing your thing. And congratulations, everybody. I say congratulations to everybody. Congratulations. How y'all doing today? Congratulations to everybody on all the things that you do. As long as you stay positive, you're going to be okay. You're going to be better than all right. I can tell you that. We've been watching you. We the watchers, and now we start to come out a little bit at a time. But you going to see, you had your full eight. If you greedy, you stomach full. If you conformed, if you got old, of course, you don't have longevity. Enough of that. Enough of that right there. Because I got something for you today. It said begin all things by using El Kalunda. We're gonna go ahead and get to chapter 1, which is called El Kalaku, which means the creation. Okay? And we're going to tablet 9, the evolutionary process, which is 19 times 13 is 247. Okay. It says, lo, you're about to embark upon the truth. I will take you a step further into the world of true knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. For many years, humans have pondered about the evolution of the inhabitants of the planet Earth. This question was in the minds of humans as to where each species of each life form evolved. Now, you must learn of the evolutionary process. This will give you great knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and reason of how and where the nine ether versus the sixth ether came about. Now, let us begin by learning of a time before when a large craft from Ninga fleet thought to be a meteorite crashed into the planet, sharing off the lower half of it. This was 24 billion years ago. This caused the development of Earth shape and form as you know it today, bringing with it new life forms. Some to make residence beneath the seas of what is called Bimini today, where is a great empire of reptilians thrive even unto these days. Other forms of life took shape on the surface of the earth. It was the gases and electrical sparks that formed the complex molecules. From the simple ones originally planted here some 76 trillion years ago. For billions of years, life continued to consist of no more than simple cells, yet with intelligence. As time passed, more complicated cells was born, and these cells gradually became even more complicated cells, which were giving birth until they eventually combined with each other or married to give birth to even larger organisms. The more complicated an organism, such as an algae, the larger its brain is. Thus, the more intelligent it became. These living organisms evolved out of the water through the ammonia and onto the soil. Millions of years after that, the next group of animals developed called metazoans. Their bodies was composed of specialized cells grouped to form tissues, organs, and cells much like the animals today. These animals multiplied and diversified, and over a period of 19 million years evolved into man and other types of animals, as dragons called terrible lizards or simply dinosaurs. This was the first evolution of life on the planet Earth. Those inhabitants went through many changes, such as the Ice Age, blazes, volcanoes, and earthquakes. During this time, there were also problems with the dinosaurs. The evolution of the dinosaurs and human was imbalanced to the point that the dinosaurs, which was much bigger than humans, and were killing them off. These humans were of the Homo erectus species. They had six ether hair covering most of their bodies. Dinosaurs are classified or divided into separate groups, one being Saurischia or lizard hips. These are four-legged plant-eating dinosaur and can also be a meat-eating dinosaur, and the other being a Ornithischia, a bird hip. The group of dinosaurs is your two-legged planet eaters and all of your armored dinosaurs. And your Armathischia, the forward pointing bone, has swung around in order that it can point backwards and forwards. The Saurischia have hip bones that are formed within reptiles. These three bones point in different directions. These two names are in reference to the arrangements of three bones of the pelvis. In the Saurischia, the bones was arranged similar to that of a modern crocodiles and lizard. These are your tanine, while the pelvis of the Ornithischia was bird-like. Therefore, humans developed from the one-cell animal, which developed into a water creature. And these humans are tadpoles or reptilians from the first 3 months in their mother's womb. This is why humans still have webbed hands, gills, and scales. In their own evolution, with the help of the mammalian parent, they become the root seed of mammals, later called human beings. In its primeval state, they climbed upon the land mass and developed into land creatures, and then to genus Homo, onto Homo erectus. And these land creatures that were once tadpoles or reptilians grew while in their mother's womb. From 3 months, more plus 3 months during their period, they were connected to an umbilical cord, umbilicus, or navel, that is on the abdomen of the fetus and is connected to the placenta. This mark on the surface of the abdomen of the mammals, who once dwelled in a marina or water, is where the umbilical cord, also called umbilicus. This central point or middle is attached during gestation. The very word navel comes from the Middle English word "nephila" and is the same as Aramaic Hebrew word "nephilat" or "nephilian", to fall down, which is the same word. In its phonetics of the language, it is a clear picture in these days and time that the word navy, naval, and marina tie in. This is the this is confession that man, as a tadpole, was considered a sea creature. Life forms that evolved from the sea were water vertebrates. They did not appear until 500 million years ago, and land vertebrates followed about 100 million years ago. About 225 million years ago, they were fish in the water as well as sea plants. Most amphibians had made the transition from water to dry land. The plants on the dry land attracted the amphibians to evolve into reptiles. The dolphin, as a whale, went from the stars to this planet in the sea, then onto land, then back into the sea as a whale. Crocodiles are a remnant of that evolutionary phase. From about 200, one score and 5 million years ago to 65 million years ago, which is the period of time often referred to as the dinosaur age, evolved two main lines of egg-laying reptilians: those who could fly, which evolved into birds like the pterodactyls, and those who roamed and dominated the planet Earth as the dinosaurs called the Tyrannosaurus or Rex, tyrant, reptile, or terrible lizards. These reptiles evolved alongside with a variety of amphibians and water lizards away from the oceans and their water life, which was full of activity. When humans came out of water, your evolution jumped billions of years. When humans crawled on land, they were in the form of what looked like crocodiles. If you examine the back of the spinal column of humans, you can see knots up and down the spinal column. Millions of years ago, it was a fin. It was used to conduct heat, and the body had to mutate. Behemoth mankind to this day still has at the end of their spine or spinal column an extension called a coccyx, that is a tail, as well as wings under their arms and webbed hands. This human developed into what you would call a dinosaur today. It got its name from its having that which is unique, that being two sets of teeth. No other animal has two sets of teeth. This dinosaur was called Dimetrodon, two types of teeth. The Dimetrodon lived about 60 to 300 million years ago, which means that it lived at the end of the Paleozoic era. Dimetrodon was a large meat-eating reptile, which measured some 10 to 12 feet from nose to tail and 5 feet in height, which explains why many humans have a craving for flesh. When the Dimetrodon, who was of the Paleozoic era, ruled, this deadly creature roamed the valley before the dinosaurs of the Mesozoic era. A baby with a coccyx tail called an extended spine. The Dimetrodon was the first to ever inhabit the land. It was a warm-blooded reptile. The Dimetrodon is a deadly reptile known for the enormous sail on its back. This sail was used for the purpose of regulating body heat. By turning the sail to face the sun, the Dimetrodon was able to warm up much more quickly, about a little less than an hour, which allowed the Metron to have more time to hunt. A reptile can't stay active if it is too hot. However, without the heat, reptiles become more sluggish, still, and helpless. But mammals can regulate the heat of the body because they are warm-blooded. The Metrodon is not an ordinary reptile. The resemblance between human and Dimetrodon was the teeth. Both human and Dimetrodon have two sets of teeth, which are the incisors, the canines, and different sized teeth behind the canines. This is only formed on mammals. 360 million years before the Dimetrodon, some creatures crawled out of the ocean, which were early amphibians. Within 20 million years, they split into two groups. One became aggressive species, which were the diaspid, and the others was more passive synapsid. They began to compete for supremacy. From generation to generation, each line improved and perfected itself. When the diapsids and the synapsids moved further up the evolutionary chain, they began to split into different directions. The diapsids had two holes, two openings in the skull, which evolved into all modern reptilians, such as your turtles, your crocodiles, your alligators, and your lizards, etc. While the synapsid had a single hole in the back of their skulls, which evolved into all proto-mammals such as your Dimetrodons, your armadillos, your whales, your dogs, your cows, humans, and all other mammals that evolved in time. The two holes allow the skull not to squeeze the brain. Proto-mammals were changing from reptilian to mammalian, and from mammal-like reptilian posture. They took possession of the land masses for 40 million years and dominated the planet. The Dimetrodon's first descendants were hot-blooded. They was a detour in evolution. They took steps from reptilian to mammalian. The dinosaurs took control, and the proto-mammals began to disappear. In the Triassic period, 245 million years ago, thus larger, more vulnerable animals began a long conquest and pushed proto-mammals to the brink of extinction. The lizard, like Alpha-Achadon, and the warm-blooded Dimetrodon reduced in size. Proto-animals had to adapt to the nightlife, becoming nocturnal hunters. As proto-mammals began to mutate and evolve out of its present state, the size of its brains grew. During this age, extraterrestrials had leaped in and started breeding also. Although life evolved from the seas, all of them, did not originate there. Some forms of life crashed into the seas of Tamat from Maldek incident, particularly from the Ninka star fleet. They began from another star constellation and lived under the seas of Tamat. These other life forms were being known as troglodytes or Meldikians that crashed down on Tamat. One of the four Meldikian crafts, called the West Wind, crashed into the center of the planet Earth. These beings lived in the seas of Tamat or Earth for millions of years. Their home base is under the Bermuda Triangle. They set up kingdoms called yams under the waters. The Meldikians developed into intelligent humanoids by abducting and mixing their seeds with humans. This is where the reptilian dinosaurs came from. While on one hand there was another set of extraterrestrial beings like the Greys, which also some of the dinosaurs evolved from. These Greys came from the star constellation Orion, the star constellation of Arcturus and Pleiades, while meanwhile the reptilians ruled them from Regal and Vectigalis and Bellatrix, Mintaka, Alinam, and Alitek in the Aragon star constellation of Auriga in the Capella star formation. They were all in fear of the aggressive insect-type extraterrestrials from Andromeda, many of which came to this planet Earth. One of the common species of dinosaurs that evolved from the Brumadians, seas of gray, was the Hypsilophodon, who came just out of the Jurassic period. They were called Hypsilophodon because of their high-ridged teeth. The Hypsilophodon were herbivores. They only ate off plants and fruits, extracting the need chlorine. The most common dinosaurs that covered from the reptilians were the Tyrannosaurus, or Rex, meaning tyrant, reptile, or terrible lizards. It is 50 feet long and 20 feet in height and weighs 7 tons. It was the largest carnivore that ever walked the planet Tamet or Earth. This creature is known to be the king of the meat eaters. The Tyrannosaurus Rex came out of the reptilians, making them part dinosaur and part reptilian. The evolutionary human. Alongside with dinosaurs, you had the evolutionary humans. Amongst the different species of evolution human, you have the Australopithecines. There were two forms of Australopithecines that could walk and were erect. Their brain was 1/3 the size of modern human brains. The smallest one stood about 4 feet tall and weighed between 50 to 120 pounds. This was your original pygmy, Kishite, Hawaiiite tribe, which your mother Hawa, Eve, came from. They had 9 ether hair. The larger ones were 7 feet and weighed 222 to 250 pounds. That was your original Watusi, or Kushite, the tribe of Zaka, Adam, came from. They had 8 ether hair. All other humans had 6 ether hair as other animals on this planet Earth. 9 ether hair is a symbol of an extraterrestrial being. All animals and humans on the planet have 6 ether. Zaka, Adam, was also a mixture of Hindu, the original black man, mixed with a Shaggy, which are another set of beings that were coming to Earth from Sirius star constellation. These Shaggies were not your hairy Bigfoot creatures. They came from the constellation Sirius, the planet Iduma. Along with the Shaggies, the Greys came also from the same star constellation, from Zeta Reticuli, called Sirius B for biological entity. The Rumidians, called Greys, came from the planet Pleiades and Arcturus. When the Nibiru passed by Sirius B, its presence drained the energy from the sun and caused the great star Sirius B to collapse. Sirius A had 2 planets, the Narians, an independent species of Greys, were on one part, and the Numus, or Numus reptilians, was on the other. Both planets rotated around Sirius A. So when the sun died, the Narians followed Nibiru through the Milky Way. While in pursuit, these beings, the reptilians, chased the Greys, the Narians. Both beings took residence in the planet Tamat, or Earth. When the reptilians came, they tried to appeal to the Maldikians, or the troglodytes, that they were living in the seas from the crash down years ago, who were of their seed. However, these Maldikians, who lived beneath the seas of the planet Earth, had a very violent nature. The reptilians had to take residence in the caverns beneath the surface of the Earth, or in deep swamp areas in the planet Earth. They set out to conquer the Meridians and take rule over them, became their passive nature. Some of the Rumadians came down to the planet Earth from Zeta Reticuli. They went directly to the original pygmy tribe of the Bushmen in South Africa, who are the Kishites, and the Hawaiites. These tribes lived, and they, the Rudiments, taught them this tribe of the Anunnaki and of beings before the star Sirius. The Kushites and the Hawaiites became the mixture of the supernatural beings. The supernatural beings are your Rumadians, or Greys, that existed on the Nile River of the barren and rocky land of Nubia. They were associated with peace and harmony. The Pygmies called these supernatural beings Malaik al-Bar, or river angels. They lived in underwater castles. They were associated with four categories of human preoccupations, which was fertility, cultivation, marriage, and health. Then, on the arrival of the reptilians, who in pursuit of the Narians crashed down also among the Dogon tribes, and began to teach them by shadow hours and would retreat to the sea by day. They told them they were the Numas, who had come to guide them if only they would tell them of the secret caves that the agreeable rudiments dwell in. These bushmen were of the family of Nakash, Nikaba. The Numas or reptilians were called Dagri or Dagri by the Nubians. They were also referred to as the ugly water beings. They also lived in underwater cities linked to caverns deep in the earth. You have 8 caverns occupied by extraterrestrials. This does not include Aghata. The ruling species of the underworld are many. Duanis, called Gnomes, which stand 3 feet tall and have porcupine-like quills protruding from their bodies. They live near lava and other volcanic environments. They live off insects and worms. They are extremely intelligent, taking pride in mastering all the science and literature of the surface people. I once met a Dewani who could recite all of William Shakespeare. He knew the best of the wines from the 17th century up. He could discuss everything from the Quran to Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, the Torah, onto Sigmund Freud, and the Ancient of Frank Lloyd Wright. They are extremely friendly and are of no threat to human beings, yet they have no interest in coexistence with human beings on the surface, who they see as killers without purpose. Next, there are the Samim Deros, who were born by hatching from eggs that are 4 to 6 feet in diameter. They grew to 7 feet and are extremely obese, having 2 stomachs and cheweth the cud. The Samim or Dero have no apparent fingernails or toenails, nipples or navels or rectum. They regurgitate their food. Their eyes are light blue. They have blonde eyebrows and pinkish gray color skin, much like the corpse of a Caucasian. Having not been exposed the inner or outer sun, they have no teeth, but their mouth appears to be full of a gummy, slimy substance. They are nocturnal and hear extremely well. They're not very peaceful and have a great dislike for humans. They are very human in appearance, yet far from it. They have long trunks like nose, much like an elephant. They contend that the planet Earth is theirs originally and will be theirs again one day. They, the Samim Dero, are constantly in conflict with the Duani, which hold the same faith. The reptilians can be seen in daylight, however, they would roam mostly in the deep dark swamps and marshlands. They took on different forms to appear to humans. They had a very violent nature, which horrified most of these people. They always came out at the shadow hour and hung around date trees. The Dogri enjoy eating the dates of the trees. They also came on to land during the shadow hours to teach and mix with the Dagons. They would kidnap the virgins and rape them and implant their seed. It became a ritual to offer virgins in order to prevent the bloodshed. A negotiator was elected called Hogan. Every 60 years, they would seek these virgins. This in turn led to female child sacrificial rituals, to these serpent people becoming blood sacrifice to what became known as Satan, the head of reptilian tribes, also called Shaitan. The Dagons of Mali and West Africa speak and teach what they have been taught by these two tribes of extraterrestrials to this very day. The reptilians told the people of Nubia that they were lawgivers, and the people called Numis, which is the sumun or nar sumun or poison in the Syriac Arabic as found in Quran. They taught them about calculations and about the sigil, a 60-year period, while on the other side of the Red Sea, eastward in Eden, in Chaldea, the demon being Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma were coming back and forth to earth from their star constellation Procon, the planet Navana, for thousands of years. They are savage animals and also called Chaldean, meaning demons. They became known as the original Asiatics. While all of this was going on, there were different kinds of evolutionary humans and behemoth. They were living on the planet Earth in the same era also. You had the genus Homo and the Australopithecus. The Australopithecus was a creature who lived many millions of years ago. They differed chiefly in size. There was two types of Australopithecus. In first form was those who stood 4 feet and could walk erect. The second form was the Java man, who was called Pithecanthropus, meaning monkey man or ape man. The other species was Paranthropus. Then you have types like Neanderthal. Then there was the Cro-Magnon and the Pekin man and the Homo erectus and many other species in between. The Pekin man also belonged to this species. The Pekin man was a type of prehistoric man who lived about 375,000 years ago in what is now called China. Members of the species of Homo erectus or erect man stood about 5 feet tall or 150 centimeters tall. They had a brain about twice the size of an Australopithecus. Most of these species of the evolutionary man came from the ape family. Among the different species of ape men, you have the black-haired lair. This is where you get the word lord or master from. The lares, plural for lore, L-A-R, were recognized for their intelligence. These lares were the head monkey or spiritual monkeys well known. This is where the word monks come from, where the Anunnaki choose to breed by gene splicing through Gestu, one of the Anunnaki, and Ninti to breed the first mammy here. They chose to breed with the Lares because of their high intelligence. The red-haired orangutan was also a very intelligent ape, and the brown and black haired chimp, 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 chimpanzees had the best brain on the scale of evolution. The orangutan is a large, rare ape. Some males have an arm spread of 7.5 feet, one of the largest of all apes. The orangutan's arms reach its ankles when it stands. The orangutan lives in trees and rarely comes down to the ground. It moves through the forest by climbing from branch to branch. The orangutan feeds off fruits and leaves. The other types was the chimpanzee. The chimpanzee has the intellect of a 4-year-old child and can be brought up to the level of a 7 or 8-year-old. The chimpanzee is one of the most intelligent animals and resembles human beings more than any other animal. They usually walk on all fours and stand erect while excited or trying to see over tall grass. The orangutans were used by certain beings to breed with. They used the species known as the baboon, the dog-like monkey, and the orangutan together. The baboon is a large monkey. It has a large head and a long, sharp teeth and a muzzle much like that of a dog. The baboon's arms are about as long as his legs. Some baboons have short, stumpy tails, but others have tails more than 2 feet long. The baboons are part hyena, jackal, and monkey. The breeding with them result in the behemoth type of carnivorous man called mankind, one of the many species of the Caucasians. You have the red hair, the green night eyes, the yellow hair, the blue eye, the brown hair, the gray eye, and many others. While on the other hand, certain beings use the chimpanzees and the gibbons, which are an offshoot of the lories, for breeding. There are 7 species of gibbons. They all have short arms and no tail. Gibbons travel through the tops of the trees in small groups. A group usually consists of a male, a female, and 1 or 2 young. The chimpanzees and the gibbons evolved into humans. They became your newborns, the original pygmy tribe. Their woolly hair comes from the supreme beings with your 4 and 20 strands of genes coated in melanin. These are the original Anunnaki Elohim, the guardians of the Nubians with 9 ether, who in skin color was olive, as green as the greenest olives. Gibbons is the smallest of the apes. It also reigns over a wider area than the other members of the ape family, the chimpanzee, the gorilla, and the orangutan. The dog race was called the Hamel. They are the beast. They were part orangutan and part baboon, called the beast of the field. They were the fierce ones. Only some of the apes were used for breeding, and on the other hand, some of these beings wasn't touched at all. They just kept on evolving. They all have 6 ether. The other animals on the planet Earth. While all of this was going on, a larger meat-eating dinosaurs were eating and destroying everything. The early humans were dying out and proto-mammals were at the brink of extinction. So the elders thought it was a great idea to destroy the planet and replenish it again. Then a great extinction hit. 17,250,000 years ago. The second big meteorite shower hit the planet Earth 2,250,000 years ago. Most of the prehistoric man and dinosaurs were destroyed. The surviving tribes were the Pygmies and the Watusis and the Hindus. The Pygmies had mixed with the agreeable Wumadians, and the Watusis, who had mixed in with the disagreeable reptilians, were led to the shelters beneath the earth, some behind waterfalls and in caves and caverns on the planet Earth, to survive, while the Hindu tribe went back to their planet called Nirvana in the Canis Minor star constellation. And that's what it is.